TDPK Podcasts, Thailand GameChanger, inside the minds of Thailand's innovators. Hi, this is Michael Waits, and welcome back to Thailand GameChanger. Today should be a great one. I am joined by Monsinee Nakapanant, a co-president at Ascend Money. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Michael?
I am super. Thank you so much for asking. Can you give our listeners a little bit of your background for context before we get to the main topics?
Yeah, sure. My name is Monsinee. I'm actually the co-president of Ascend Money Group. I have been with the company since the outset, since 2013. That was pretty much almost 8 years ago, a part of a few groups of the founders. And since then, it has been, a really exciting journey for me. We're starting from the small team, and today, we have been covering, in so many countries. Definitely exciting journey. I'm very glad to be here today and speaking with you.
Thank you so much for coming on. Can I ask you a little bit more about your background? Where did you study for your undergraduate and your graduate degree?
Yeah, undergrad, I study in engineering. In WeLoveShopping University, major in electrical engineering. Actually. Wow. Yeah, and after my undergrad degree, I worked for a few years in telecom industry. Yeah, okay. And then decided to go to US, for my MBA. Luckily, I was able to join MIT Sloan School of Management. Yeah, right. Made a lot of good friends there. Yeah,
I'm sure you did. Did you enjoy living in Boston?
Yeah, pretty much, still missing going to Boston, with, see, if you go there, you can feel like academic vibe.
Very much so, right?
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. Yeah. Yeah. Very, academic, sort of intellectual and, but a lot of fun things to do in Boston. Yeah. Going to the park and, sailing, all the good stuff.
My family's from Boston. I grew up in Boston, and I get nostalgic sometimes when I talk to people who went to school there because I can just picture myself walking around the city. So that's why I want to ask. The only thing I don't like is it gets really cold in the wintertime. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Oh, that's awesome. So you said you were at Ascend Money from the beginning, which I think is really interesting. What was the original idea and what was necessary to get it started back in 2013?
Yeah, at the time, we look into the market, in Thailand, and also in Southeast Asia as well. And, we do see a lot of pain points that can be addressed by technology.
Okay.
Yeah. And definitely, the areas of how people transact, there are gaps and pain points in the market. So at the time, we decided, many of us, who were in True Group at the time, and we spun off the business, to form Ascend Group and Ascend Money Group as a part of it. Yeah, right. And our purpose at the time is very clear. We want to help people life better using technology. That's the purpose. Yeah, and then yeah, and then we started from looking into the key pain points of the obvious pain point, especially for the digital literate group of people, basically teenagers, young people. Yeah, young people want to buy things online. Yeah, but 8 years ago they could not because they don't have credit card, they don't have debit card. So how can you do that? The only way is to ask their parents, right? And credit card penetration in Thailand is still very, very small. Yeah.
It is low.
So we came up with the prepaid virtual card products.
Interesting.
To help teenagers to be able to just open the wallet, buy the wallet with a prepaid card, and they can use it to buy things online. They just go to 7-Eleven, top up to the card, and then use the card to buy things online. So that's the first segment that we approach because we see the pain points in the market.
Very interesting. I moved to Thailand at the end of 2011, and I've been here through this sort of really interesting and fun growth of the tech startup ecosystem.
Right.
And it's really been amazing. And I'm curious if you remember the excitement back in 2013 when you were launching this product. Could you have seen it get to be like Thailand's first FinTech unicorn when the idea was originally started? Do you know what I mean?
Definitely not. Definitely not at the time. I remember, when YouTube, was acquired by Google, right?
So do I.
And I think
Right.
the valuation was about 2 billion, I think, more or less.
One, I think.
1 billion.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at the time, 1 billion sounds gigantic.
Huge.
But not much.
Just huge, right?
It's huge. Yeah. So being unicorn is not exactly what we picture in mind. Yeah. but even today, asking whether being unicorn matter that much, I think it might not be matter as much as what we want to do, in terms of helping people's life. It's not about the size, I think, but it's more on what we do and number of people that we impact. Yeah, but at the time, of course, no, we never imagined being unicorn. No.
But I want to say it's a really interesting answer because there's an idea inside the startup world that becoming a unicorn is some kind of end of journey. And I think the reality is more like what you said. It's an interesting like KPI or an interesting, not KPI, but it's interesting like signpost. It's an interesting milestone. But the more important thing is having that impact on people's day-to-day lives, right? And I guess back then, if you go back to 2013, even something as straightforward as e-commerce wasn't as frictionless as it is today. Yeah. Can you talk maybe about some of the challenges, some of the early operational challenges that you had of building this out in the context of where the startup ecosystem was as well, if that makes sense?
Yeah. Let me share with you this. In 2011, actually, before I joined Ascent Group, I also found an e-commerce website.
Did you?
Yeah, with the other colleague in True Group. Yeah, we are like very small team in the big True Group and doing something different from others. Other people do telco, right? But we choose to form this e-commerce website. It was called WeLoveShopping at the time.
Right. I remember WeLoveShopping.
Yeah, and we named that names is very straightforward, right? And WeLoveShopping was like the marketplace for small sellers to sell stuff online. Yeah.
Right.
And the pain point that we saw is that when people transact online, there need to be trust between buyer and seller, right? And at the time, we partner with a team that introduced True Money. That's how e-commerce and True Money and joins hand together. Yeah. At the time, being like small startup in big companies is not simple. It's not simple. Yeah, because when I share our thoughts on e-commerce, right? People ask, "What is it?" They say, "Oh, it's like in the cloud," because it's not physical, right? It's not like physical store. It's not physical store. So we actually chose to start with something small. Getting small group of people, and even in a big company, we actually use our own money to buy server. To buy server, at the time that we launched e-commerce website, WeLoveShopping. Me and the other partner, great guy, Kun Samsern. So we actually use our own money to buy server, but we asked IT people whether we can host in their IDC, the data center. They said yes. So that's how we start. That's
such a great story.
Yeah, and once we start from small and we start to build, larger user base, right? We start to properly, ask for money and, getting partner in the ecosystem, and we gradually start from there.
Yeah, I think people sometimes take for granted that it's easier inside of a big company because of all the available resources. But I like this idea that you and your partner went out and bought the server yourself, even though you put it into the data center of a bigger company. Can you talk about what you learned from having your own e-commerce site and how that translated into some of the things that you built at Ascend Money?
Yeah. Yeah. So, what I learned, number one, importance of having the right group of people with the same passion. Yeah. So when we start e-commerce, we don't have that many people. We actually have about 15 people at a time. Yeah.
Okay.
But then that 15 people, the most important thing is we need to share the same goal. We need to see the same customer, and we need to understand the same pain points. Yeah.
Right.
And we need to be able to we have to trust each other, that each one of us taking care of different areas of expertise, but they are the best of doing that. So that's one. The other thing, we learned the lesson of moving very fast without being silo. Although we are like the team in a big company, but we don't have functions. I mean, like departments.
Right.
The sales people, the business people need to understand technology.
Yes.
And vice versa. So in many cases, I get great ideas from technology people, from engineers.
Right.
Yeah, to come up with certain features. Yeah, and very important to really listen to customer, and really test and try very fast. Yeah. So that kind of idea when we start from e-commerce, and when I myself moved to Ascent Group. When we start Ascent Group, we try to ensure that we have the right startup spirit at the time.
Right.
Yeah.
That's hard. Yeah.
Yeah. Making sure that everyone knows why we come to the work every day. What is the purpose of the things that we do? Yeah. Making sure that we have the right leaders, the right group of founders with the right mindset.
Really important.
Really important.
Yeah. Can you talk about some of the nuances, like the small differences of the Thai payment market that may not be obvious to people that are outside the country?
Right. Yeah. See, I think Thai market, from the paper, right? 80% of people already have bank account.
Right.
So, 70-80% are banked population. Yeah. But in fact, majority of the user are still underbanked. Yeah. I would like to draw the difference between banked and underbanked. Yeah.
Please.
A bank basically be able to have the bank account, basic saving account. That's called banked. Yeah. Underbanked meaning that you need to build your credit. You need to build your credit. Would it be a risk profile? Whether it would be credit risk or investment risk, or other types of risk, like insurance risk, for example.
Right.
Majority of Thai people do not have that kind of profile. Yeah. So so we are still very underbanked. Let's say less than 15% of Thai people can access to credit card. Yeah. So people still cannot be accessible to credit products. Yeah.
Right.
Less than 5 people do not be able to reach investment products. Less than 5% invest. That's how we see the role of Ascent Money. Okay, we start from providing payment service, payment convenience. Yeah, but more importantly, we want to provide access to financial services.
Right.
Yeah, that's why today we use technology, we use data to provide things like digital lending to people who don't have credit bureau, don't have data in credit bureau, for example. Or we make investment so easy. People who have no experience in investment before can use TrueMoney wallet and start to invest with only like 10 baht, 100 baht, for example. I think that's some of the nuance of Thai market. It is somewhere in between. It's not like Singapore, Malaysia, but we banked countries than Cambodia, for example. Somewhere in the middle, and I see that as a big opportunity because people are well open for bank or financial products, but then the accessibility is not there. Then that's the opportunity that we want to fill in.
I understand. How do partnerships like help you extend and support the Ascend brand, if that makes sense, right? In other words, if you don't have all of your own financial products, how do those partnerships help extend it?
Partnership is extremely important. Yeah, and especially partner with the techniques. Okay, and also partner with and financial, for example, or with True Group. Yeah, what we get there from the partnership, we get the best in class technology in terms of risk management, which is very important for financial service. Yeah, so we work with Ant Financial to adopt things like state of the art KYC technology, biometrics technology, or the risk management platform. We partner with them in that sense. We partner with to learn more and know more about the customers. Yeah,
Right.
and by knowing more customers, we can manage the risk profile and offer the right products to the right customer. Very important. But today, with too many large user base of big guys anymore, we start to partner with small startups actually.
Really?
Yeah, because we actually view ourselves as a platform. We have people service, right? We design technology with open API so that the startup partners who have excellent idea and excellent solutions can write on our platform. So now we partner
Really?
with a company. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
So
I interrupted you.
Yeah, so for example, we now partner with the companies, providing gamifications for users so that they save more and spend more, right? That is a small partners that write application into money wallet application. Yeah, within only 3 months, we gain like 800,000 users using their apps. So-called mini apps into money apps.
Right. So this is interesting. If you've built an API, if you built in API connectivity into the platform, it makes it a lot easier for big companies and small companies alike to connect to the platform. It's a really interesting strategy, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And do you see financial service companies like, stock trading companies or other companies like that also plugging in to get access to the users as well?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Basically, because we are a platform, right? So we are open to partner with financial institutions. Yeah. For example, now we partner with KK, Kiet Nakin Bank. Yeah. To co-provide saving service into money wallet. Yeah.
Really interesting.
Yeah. So the saving accounts actually provided by bank but running on money wallet application. Yeah.
Right.
We also partner with KK to provide loan service as well, personal loan service on money wallet application.
Right.
Yeah. And if you go into the insurance sections, you will see multiple insurance companies selling their insurance products on money wallet app. Yeah. So bottom line is that we have open platform, we have large customer base. Yeah, we have understanding of what users would like. We have payment infrastructure, we have KYC infrastructure, and we want to make it available for partners so that we can co-build value to the end users.
Right. I mean, there's a philosophy that says you can't build everything yourself. And
Definitely
if that's the
not.
case, yeah, no, definitely not right. And if that's the case, and that the open API is the way to get the most people onto the platform to build services for your users and your customers that you may not be able to build yourself, but that add value to everybody else on the platform. Yeah, is that fair?
Yep. Exactly. You sum up beautifully. Yes, exactly. It is the purpose. Yeah.
What does the 3 to 5 year future look like? In other words, as you look out into the future and start planning on what's going to happen for Ascend Money, do you go out and get your own banking license? Like, what does it look like? There's buy now, pay later stuff happening. It's all digital.
Yes.
And you have companies like Hula in Singapore or Plantina in the Philippines that are doing that type of business. Do you consider that as well? And what does that look like for you?
Yeah. We always aim at our purpose of the business, right? Basically, enable people to access financial service, financial inclusion. Yeah,
right.
We start from payment, and currently we start to provide digital lending service
as well. Yeah,
as well.
Right.
And of course, digital lending, we start from giving credit. Right, in coming month in November, we will start to give credit installment, similar to buy now pay later, similar to that.
Right.
Yeah. And we already start with investment products. People can buy mutual fund into money wallet. Yeah. And we are adding more products in the investment portfolio. Yeah. So basically, variety of payment and financial services. We want to make it very easy for user to be able to access to.
Right.
Yeah. So per your question, 3 years down the road, number one, we want to expand the full suite of payment and digital financial services, integrate it with the TrueMoney wallet journey, make it simple for user. Secondly, we want to expand our digital financial service to other countries as well.
Okay.
Like right now, we operate in 6 countries, in Thailand and other 5 countries in Southeast Asia. Yeah.
Right.
In other countries, we provide like agent payment business, something similar to counter service in Thailand. Yeah.
Right.
Point mom and pop shop to be like payment points. Adding on financial services are something that we're going to expand to other countries. That's what we want to do 3 years down the road.
Got it. When you talk about the difference between banked and underbanked, there's a financial inclusion aspect to this, right? You want people to have access to financial products, but there's also a financial literacy aspect to this as well. How do you handle the financial literacy side from an Ascend Money standpoint, teaching people what these financial products mean, and even the simplest thing of just teaching them how to pay for things digitally?
Right. Yeah. 2 things. One, education, working with our partner, like investment partners, providing contents and sort of recommendation or advice. Let's say if you go to Ascend Wealth section in TrueMoney Wallet, you will see, like advice and contents and articles. Yeah. So that's more on sort of the pool mode, sharing the contents, working with experts from partners. But the second way that we do, and we believe in the second way even more, is to really understand the user's needs. Yeah. And we do not give the same products to everyone.
Right.
Yeah. We look at, the types of products that we give. Yeah. And based on ability to pay back, for example, we pick and choose the use cases that a person can use as well. Basically, we do not spoil people. If people have financial discipline, we add more credits, we add more risky use cases to that people. But let's say for for people that we just know, or maybe young people, we limit the use case that they use. So it's more on education, which we have a feedback loop from the behavior that we see, how they use our products, and we think that's the best way to manage, because just telling might not be as effective as interactively propose the right products that fit with their risk profile.
Right. I mean, restricting access to some products that may be more risky based on your financial transaction history is probably a good idea, right? And until you have enough resources that you can take some risk and you can measure that, right? It's all measurable. It's better not to have access to those products, right?
Right.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
What are some of the challenges of operating a business in 5 or 6 different countries? I think there's a view outside of the region that Southeast Asia is just one monolithic market with 670 million people in it. But the reality is that operating in Malaysia is very different than operating in Thailand. Operating in Indonesia is very different. What are some of the challenges for you at Ascend Money from operating in these different markets?
Yeah, the difference is the challenge.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's not the challenge. Yeah, it's not monolithic.
At all.
At all. The proportion of banked, unbanked, underbanked difference, vary market to market.
Right.
Yeah. That's one. Yeah. Secondly, the regulatory environment is different as well.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And for us, thirdly, the ecosystem that we have in each country varies.
Yeah, very much so. In the stage of development, right?
Yeah, stage of development, and also the government involvement in a country, different country by country. Yeah. So it is very much different, but we also see some commonality as well. Basically, people want to have better life, and they don't have financial. It's not easy for them to access to financial products yet. We have commonality that if we design technology well to make it open, to join with partners, we understand using data to understand users' behavior. That's gonna be the key, and also design journey to be super easy through our app. That would be the key elements for success. But we need to adapt. We need to and modify when we enter each country.
Got it. You mentioned the regulatory environments, which again is something that a lot of people external to the region don't think about a lot when they try to enter, right? Because while there is some communication between the regulators regionally, they run separate little fiefdoms, right? And that's fair. That's the way it should be. But the regulators in Thailand seem to me to have been very forward-thinking when it comes to cryptocurrency and digital assets.
Mm-hmm.
And as a digital money company, do you see a strategic use of crypto as the fintech world continues to evolve and change?
I certainly think a blockchain is the technology to go, right? We actually invested, having R&D to do that as well, and as you mentioned, the regulator here is very much forward looking. Central Bank of Thailand, for example.
Yes.
And we are actually working with them in some of the blockchain initiatives, like the Central Bank Digital Currency, the CBDC.
Yep.
The digital baht, right? And they will open to bank and non-bank as well as non-bank. So we are working, with our working team to test and try and pilot this CBDC together.
Got it. Okay. Well, leave me with this. You've been in the startup world now for almost a decade, maybe longer, right? Actually, if you go back and look at when you started WeLoveShopping, I love the name of this company, by the way. And I'll tell you why. I have this theory, like it's in the name. So if anybody asks you, what is WeLoveShopping for? It's like, why do I have to answer that? It's in the name. It just makes me smile every time I think about it, right? But you've been involved for a while. And I think the startup ecosystem in Thailand has changed a lot in the last 10 years, definitely since I've arrived. But what do you think is going to change the game going forward for the startup ecosystem in Thailand?
I think we might see in the news today, right? I think a lot of the big corporate, see the importance of digitizing themselves. Yeah?
Yes.
And of course, from the capital perspective, I think that would be like investment or capital from big conglomerates, big companies. We read the news of SCBX,
yes,
a few weeks ago.
Big reorganization, yeah.
Right. For CP Group, actually, CP Group was very forward looking in that area. Yeah. And that's why, they invest in our company, in Ascend Money, 7 or 8 years back, and
Right.
multiple other companies. So I think there would be more, more capital feeding in to help startups, not only from from the big private, from the big VC venture capitalist firm, but also the VC inside the big conglomerate as well. So I think it's very important for any startups, to really have their own key, assets, key intellectual properties, and have a clear thought on what kind of value they want to create in and what segments. Because for the big companies to invest, definitely they will look at a company that can complement to their business or to their strategy, right? And they will look at a company with unique assets. So I think the opportunity is more open, but then the competition among startups will be more open as well. Competition to get the money, competition to get people, to get tech team, which is very difficult to find, right?
So
everywhere. So they need to have a clear thoughts on what are the key assets they want to build, what are the unique assets, and make the early success before expanding.
I understand. Okay. I really want to thank you for doing this today. Monsinee Nakapanant, co-president at Ascend Money. This was really great. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this today.
Thank you. Yeah.
TDPK Podcasts, Thailand GameChanger. Inside the minds of Thailand's innovators.